Can you mourn or grieve for somebody who's still alive? Well, in this video we're going to find out. But before we do, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Please leave any comments or feedback down below in the comment section, and please leave me a big thumbs up. Okay, so losing a relative or a friend when they passed away is truly an awful experience. In fact, it's probably the worst experience imaginable. We all accept death as an inevitable part of life, but that doesn't make the experience any easier when it comes. As a child, there's nothing more heart-wrenching than losing a parent. Worse still, a parent losing a child. Things are just not meant to work that way. Death is a certainty, we all know this, but even though we know it, that one day we'll lose our mother and father, nothing can prepare us for the loss that we feel. When my mum passed away almost 5 years ago, I was completely lost. In fact, I still am. She was the most important person in my life and the most amazing woman. And I was, like most people are, heartbroken to lose my mum. I miss her every single minute of every single day. But even though I miss her dearly, I no longer grieve her loss like I did at the time. Time, as they say, heals all wounds. Well, I'm not so sure that it heals so much as it gradually masks the pain and allows us to move on with our lives. When somebody dies, it's final. You know that you'll never see that person ever again, unless of course you believe in an afterlife. But looking at the facts and what we know for sure, when somebody dies, that person has gone from your life forever. Now, knowing this can give us some form of closure, but mourning the loss of somebody doesn't necessarily mean that that person's passed away. Now, as anybody who's ever been rejected or dumped or divorced by a spouse, lover, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, will know it's one of the most difficult, emotional and psychologically draining times of our lives. It's just the worst thing you can go through. Now, even though this person hasn't passed away, the loss that we feel is akin to mourning and grief. To mourn the loss of someone who's still alive, especially if you're still deeply in love with that person, is just so upsetting and confusing. Unlike when people pass away, losing somebody due to a breakup can leave you with so many unresolved feelings and a sense of there being no closure. Now, you'd think that your partner telling you that they no longer want to be with you should be closure enough. But because they're still very much alive, there's always that chance that you could hear from them again, or you could see them, bump into them, or perhaps even reconcile. Knowing that the person you love so much is still alive but no longer wants to be a part of your life makes it very difficult to move on. It can place you in this perpetual state of worry and anguish, and you may hope and pray that your loved one will change their mind and come back to you. Now, being optimistic about this happening is one thing, but living your life in a constant state of hope that this will happen prevents you from truly living your life. When you hope, you're not living in the present moment. You're dwelling on the past and thinking about the future. What went wrong? Why did they go? What will happen? Will he or she come back? Will things work out? Now, thoughts like these make you focus more on yesterday and tomorrow than they do about today. Wanting things to work out with your loved one is perfectly understandable, but it's the hoping that they'll one day come back that causes us so much pain and grief. You see, everything that we know, everything that is, has an opposite. Day wouldn't exist without night, and up couldn't exist without down. Similarly, fear would not exist if there was no hope, and it's for this reason that you shouldn't hope. If you live in hope, then you also live in fear. Fear of your loved one not coming back. Fear of things not working out for you how you'd like them to. Fear of never being happy again. If you live in hope, then you're also living in fear. And it's this fear that's making you grieve the loss so much more. Living in hope means living in fear, and living in fear means living with grief. And if you're living with grief, then you cannot possibly move on with your life. But I don't want to move on with my life, I hear you say. I don't want anybody else. I want to be with my love. Well, moving on doesn't mean that you have to go and find yourself a new partner or forget about your ex-partner. nor does it mean that you have to abandon any thoughts of reconciliation. It just means that you have to live your life for today, whether your partner's in your life or not. You shouldn't focus on the what ifs and the what might be's of the future, but the what is of today. Moving on also doesn't mean that you have to stop loving that person, even if they're no longer in your life, or worse still, they no longer love you the way you love them. You can still love them if you want to, today, tomorrow, forever. It's okay, it's up to you. You don't have to stop loving them. Now, I understand totally what it's like to be mourning the loss of someone who's still alive. I've been there, we've all been there if we've lost relationships. But we just need to abandon any hope. By abandoning hope, we abandon fear. And once we abandon fear, we can move on. Well, that's it for this video. I hope it gave you some food for thought. It's a very Buddhist way of looking at things. I'm not necessarily a Buddhist, I just like some of the Buddhist philosophies. Any questions or discussions, please leave them down below in the comments section. Please leave me a big thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and also don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks again.